Hello everybody, Richard Warlock here. I'm going to do a psychic reading. If you want to book a psychic reading, if you follow the linkage in my profile, you'll find it in Stan Store. Okay, you can book online video chat or phone, sorry. Right, so what's coming through to me today is there's been a shift, okay. What it's saying is one of you has timeline jumped. I was getting some of this through previously. This is probably a love reading, be it that you believe in twin flames or divine counterparts. We're looking at that kind of energy. I'm not talking about soulmates here, because what I'm talking about is somebody who's, or I'm talking to a collective who's a bit more down the rabbit hole with this stuff. Okay, there's been a there's been a shift. There's been a timeline jump. I'm getting the word quantum leap. Okay, that might be some significance if you're old enough to remember the TV program. Who knows? But one of you has shifted. Okay, one of you has shifted. You've gone into a higher frequency, and then they need some time to catch up. Now, I've got the Four of Pentacles in the bottom of the deck there, right? Now, oftentimes this card for me talks about closing off heart chakra because he's clinging on to it. I don't really want to go there as such, but because he's clinging on it, it feels like they're still clinging on. I don't want to say to the 3D reality as such, because like I said, I do feel I'm doing a collective who's a little bit more down the rabbit hole. There could be starseeds, light workers, etc., etc. The problem for me is that with spirituality, and I'm not saying this trying to offend people, it's just the way that I see things. I feel like the people within the spiritual community or on a spiritual path, they get to a certain point, and they think they kind of get stuck in this I'm elevating stage. And what you need to do is kind of release that, because a lot of what you're told in regard to elevation and manifestation and stuff like that, it's not quite right. It's not quite right, because we're told it's all about feeling and releasing and stuff like that, and strictly speaking it's not. Okay, but I'm not going into that now. And it feels like they're still kind of holding on to some old what I'm going to call spiritual programming. Anyway, let's continue. I'm being told they will get there. You just need to be a little bit more patient. It feels like I'm, as always, reading more for the feminine energies here. I say as always because it tends to be feminine energies are more drawn to readings and stuff like that. I was just about to say masculine energies, they take longer to kind of catch up. So we've got King of Cups in the reverse position. I'm not, normally if I was doing tarot reading, I'd be saying the King of Cups is emotional manipulation and stuff like that. I don't want to go there. I feel like it's more that the masculine energy here is I feel a bit sick as I'm holding this. It feels like, because it's cups, most of our body's filled with water. I'm getting a bit headachy as well. It wouldn't surprise me if, it wouldn't surprise me if the masculine energies are feeling this big shift, but they're having trouble identifying why. And you as the feminine, you're kind of magnetically picking up on that. Okay, and that sounds a bit weird, right? We then got the Five of Cups in the reverse position. So I feel again this is more to do with the masculine energy. They will get there. They're just a bit confused on an emotional level. Okay, your job is to balance yourself, because if you can balance yourself, if you can balance that kind of sicky feeling, or if you're feeling a little bit like woo woo, yeah. If we're talking about divines or twin flames, that will then mirror. Okay, so we've got the Three of Pentacles at the bottom there. Now this talks about cooperation, so I'm going to keep it simple and say if you can study your shit, because remember Earth energy is very grounded as well. So if you can ground yourself, if you can focus on building, moving forwards, despite you being in the higher timeline, it will steady the ship for them, and then they'll go into a Nine of Cups energy. They'll start to realise they'll settle. Okay. Seven of Wands in the reverse position. You've got to release this now, because you're like I say, could be overnight. You've quantum leaped. You've quantum jumped into a higher frequency. I don't want to say the 5D, but it feels like that's where you're leveling up to. Okay. There's a bit of refusal for doing some shadow work with the masculine energy. Have faith, it's all coming in divine timing. Have faith, it's all coming in divine timing. Release to source. Okay, source. They're saying source is one. Source is one. Source is within you. Be the light. Be the light. You are the light. The light is within you. Okay, it's not out there. It's in here. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting the phrase inner space. Inner space. Okay. Be proud of yourself. Okay, you've worked so very hard to get to this point. Okay, you need to start releasing. You need to start releasing old patterns of trauma. It's not the way. It's not the way it was before. It's not the way it was before. Allow yourself to shift and change. And then what I've got in my mind is, it's hard to explain. It's like a lady kind of flowing and dancing in a flowing dress, but it's all kind of energetic colours. Moon card, right? This came up earlier, and it didn't kind of fit the narrative, but but they obviously want me to mention the moon card. Where I'm kind of going, I'm starting to get an 8 around here. Where I'm going with this is it's about, sometimes the moon card for me, because it talks about the unknowns, it's about having that faith and belief that you don't have all the answers yet, and you're going into this flux and flow period moving forwards. Okay, don't be afraid to say I am, because source is within you. Okay, death card in the reverse. Okay, it's time to trigger a rebirth. It's time to trigger a rebirth. Shed the skin that previously you wore, and then they're saying that you're going into your light bearer timeline. You're going into your light bearer timeline. Okay. Behind the death card, 6 cups, balance, emotional balance. And then behind that, we've got the 8 of swords in the reverse position. Okay, it's time to take the restrictions off. It's time to take the mask off. Oh, wrong way around there. Now is the time to focus on you. Okay, allow that stability to grow within you. And then what I can see in my mind is I can see roots going down into the ground. So again, we're talking about grounding ourselves, steadying ourselves. You need to acclimatize with the new energy, the new earth that you are in. So make sure you are grounding yourself. Take some time off. Drink plenty of fluids. And then what they're showing me in my mind, it's like I'm in space. And you know, obviously when you're in space, or if you're on a different planet, the gravity levels would all be different, and it's kind of going to take a bit of a readjustment period. So allow yourself to readjust. Okay, Queen of Pentacles, I'm going to say this is yourselves. Focus on nurturing yourself. Okay, the masculine will catch up, but you've got to be patient. You've got to be patient. Okay, there is only one. There is only one. So you need to remove that fear and doubt. Okay, now is the time to focus on you. Split the deck, King of Swords in the reverse position. It's not a nasty energy this time. It's just saying that they've kind of got into the head, and they need to bring in that balance. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go get some toast or something because I'm feeling a little bit sicky myself. Right, ta-ta for now. Have faith.